turn to ban. Dire team ban.
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome in for this North American showdown, our second match of the day. It's win or go home time for both of these teams. Dignitas taking on Evil Geniuses. Now, if there's anything you can count on from Dignitas, it's the fact that they're a known variable. No matter at what point you decide to cross-section their record and performance, it's a sure bet that they're looking good with a win-heavy record under their belt. And today is no different. They're 10-4 across the month of April with a list of teams beaten that reads like a who's who of Dota 2. And they're a team that many consider to be a third most likely behind Na'Vi and Alliance to advance to LAN out of the Western Qualifier. Today, they're going to be squaring off against the team they know well, both personally and professionally, but which they haven't seen in a competitive environment in months. Dignitas has playmakers at every position, and they'll be looking to draw on that high-octane capability to bring a halt to EG's recent resurgence. Now, EG, the mystery that is the identity of Evil Genius's team continues to unfold in front of us, and their performances so far in G1 have been just as enigmatic, I should say, if I can actually pronounce the word, as their performances elsewhere. First, they lost to Absolute Legends in round 1, and they lost ugly. Then AL drops out, and EG takes their spot in round 2 after having been flat-out eliminated, and they run into a top-flight Team Liquid squad, one of the first invited teams to the International, and manage to hang a 2-1 upset on them for the second time in 3 days. Then, just as everyone is starting to believe their recent solid performances were indicative of a total turnaround, they get bounced down to the lower bracket by Fnatic in a series that wasn't just a loss, but an ugly loss. No one can get their heads around where EG is in their play and consistency. And if we're to be honest, that most likely includes EG themselves. They're still experimenting with role swapping at carry, mid, and support. Here's the bottom line. EG has talent at every position, and they've shown us time and time again that even when their play is fluctuating, they still know how to find a way to win. What seems to determine the outcome of their matches, though, is which EG squad shows up to play on a given day. Is it the playmaking, high-flying, high-pressure squad that shined on the stages of DreamHack winner in the International last year? Or is it the inconsistent team they seem to have become in the late months of winter? Recent results show us that they're still just as strong a team as they've ever been when they're able to bring it all together. It's just a matter of them putting it all back together for good instead of just for one series. I'm AC, you're here on One More Game TV2, and I'm joined by a hell of a co-caster. Very excited to have him on our second time broadcasting together, Merlini. Merlini, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, how's it going, AC?
That's going well, and you very happy to have received your message. You got back with me about, I don't know, 15 minutes before we were set to go live, and very excited to have you on, man. Last time we got to work together was in the D2L playoffs, and, we had a lot of fun with that. Looking forward to this match here today, and, you with your professional experience and all that, just leading things off, as we'll wait on the picks and the bands to come out, but if you can, in a couple of sentences, give me a rundown from your perspective on what both of these teams' strengths and weaknesses happen to be.
Reserve time.
Well, both of them are actually filling with somewhat new players in their lineup. Sexy Bambo has only been playing with them for a little bit with B-Diz's absence, and with Tides out, Sneaking he's been playing for them a couple months, and he was playing with them prior to Universe joining the team. So I think they're still trying to settle in their roles a little bit and be a little bit more comfortable with everyone else's playstyles. But I like watching both these teams, especially Dignitas. They always prove to have very exciting games. And this game is, I believe, hosted on US East, which means that we don't usually hear the lag complaints of the American teams.
Yep, exactly. Not going to have to worry too much about pings. Obviously, the odd man out being Melk, but still, he should be able to do quite well. So taking a look at the bans and the picks early on here, my friend, we see Bad Rider and Wisp taken out by Team Dignitas. Darkseer and the Lone Druid banned out by Evil Geniuses. EG gets their hands on a first pick Lifestealer, but they have to give away a Magnus and a Luna, but they do manage to grab the Storm Spirit up, so the Nake's Bomb very much going to be available to them. But I want to talk briefly about the Luna pick here from Dignitas. I see that along with the Magnus. There's a lot of synergy between those two heroes. Obviously, Luna can fight just as early as Magnus can once he gets his RP up, just because of how strong Eclipse happens to be. But when I see that pick come out, what I suspect is that they may think EG might try to offensively tri-lane, and Luna just makes any tri-lane, defensive or offensive, so much more strong because of the power of Lunar Blessing.
And it's just much easier to farm in the triple lane too if you have a ranged hero. Lifestealer can harass melee heroes very easily, I'm surprised to see the Luna pick this early, though. Luna fits in a medley of strategies, including like an early push strat, so I like seeing her, but she kind of like phases in and out of popularity. She hasn't been picked up too much recently, especially with the resurgence of, or surge of Nakes, but she's still a very strong hero.
Well, we see the Bane pickup from Dignitas as well. Shadow Demon's available if they wanted to grab that. Honestly, either team could benefit from that, but obviously Bane an excellent pickup against the Lifestealer in any situation. That's not quite as effective whenever you have a Storm Spirit on the other side, though, just because the Nakes can reliably initiate by infesting out of the storm after the storm initiates from range. And, you know, it's a much more reliable way to fight. And really, that's what we're beginning to see, at least from my point of view. And, you know, when you look at these front three, Merlini, tell me, I mean, looking at the lanes, either team obviously has the option to offensively tri-lane. Looking at EG with the Rubik and the Lifestealer, I feel like they're a lot more likely to do so. But, you know, with these front three, how do you think the lanes are likely to shape up? And granted, we're still very early on, but just what's your inclination? If you're drafting, what's going through your head as you look at these lineups?
It's most likely going to be Storm mid, especially versus Magnus, and with Nyx banned out. I forgot to mention that Nyx wasn't banned in the first 4, nor picked in the first 6, which is very unusual, especially against a Storm Spirit.
Right.
Nyx can shut him down very easily in lane and even in the mid game. And late game, when he gets his intel items, that mana burn is going to hit like a truck in the 600 to 800 range. So very smart ban by Evil Geniuses. And Bane pickup is pretty good. It's very good versus Lifestealer, but I think Nyx is an all-around stronger hero. And let's see. And Keeper the Light is also not picked or banned either, which is a little unusual.
Yeah, the Keeper, the fact that Keeper's still alive is honestly the big head-scratcher to me. I mean, and you mentioned it, the Luna being picked up this early, like, I'm starting to notice this as a general trend. Teams are beginning to... You know, they're letting Nyx Assassin slide a lot more than they used to. I've seen Nyx Assassin picked and make it through even in the second ban phase like he did here. I've seen that more in the last week than I think I've seen it in the last month combined. But what I'm starting to see a lot of teams do is just go ahead and reserve one slot at least with their opening picks just for a hero that they prefer. And Dignitas is a team that is quick to do that. In fact, TA coming out in the first 3 is probably the most common because they love to get that hero for sneaking when they can. But we're beginning to see already a little bit of fluctuation in the way a lot of these teams draft. And the Keeper of the Light, though, back to what you were saying about that, that's really the head scratcher to me. The fact that Keeper's neither picked nor banned right now is kind of mind-boggling, especially given that there he is going to be banned finally. But it's really rare to see a Keeper survive into the second ban phase.
And back what you were asking about the lanes, I think it's Storm, Spirit mid, and then Lifestealer and Rubik probably in the safe lane, and then for Dignitas, most likely Magnus, middle, Luna, and Bane in the safe lane. So they still need one support each and one off laner or solo safe lane if they choose to aggressive.
Well, that's kind of the question for me right now. Like, I look at both sides. Both sides have a chance to aggressively tri-lane, and I'm actually leaning towards it for Dignitas for one simple reason, which is Enfeeble. Lifestealer trying to farm up against an offensive tri-lane, especially one that does have ranged, and not only has range, but has ranged heroes that get the bonus from Lunar Blessing. He struggles enough in that situation. Then you get enfeebled, and all of a sudden you're trying the last hit with less than 30 damage at level 1 and level 2. And, you know, it's so easy to underestimate just how much extra right-click damage Lunar Blessing gives you because, and you and I talked about this, if I'm not mistaken, we actually saw a Luna pick the last time you and I broadcasted together because this has a feeling of deja vu to me. But the fact that Lunar Blessing is a skill that is a flat damage bonus, it's not percentage-based, which means it doesn't scale quite as well into the late game as another damage bonus, kind of an aura or ability might, but it does mean that right from level 1, you put your first point in, it gets really hard, especially for squishy supports, to stand up to that kind of pressure. And with Bane's ability to initiate using Nightmare, if they're able to get another high-tier support like a Lena, like a Leshrac, etc., I think Dignitas might have a chance to do that and then free up that solo safe lane for farm.
I definitely agree with you there. So looking at these bans from Evil Geniuses, they have pretty smart bans. Nyx is very good versus Storm, as I mentioned before, and then Shadow Demon is very good versus Lifestealer, and it works well in most triple lanes. And then Clockwork, as we said earlier, Dignitas is missing an offlaner, and those cogs just totally messes with Lifestealer's world.
Well, looking at Lifestealer so far, I mean, they've got the Bane counter. And, you know, I think the question is going to become, what other sources of damage are they going to have? Luna's an excellent late-game carry. But, you know, if I'm Dignitas, I think I'm looking for some mid-game damage. What heroes are on your radar in that regard?
10 seconds remaining.
Firstly, they just need a support to combo with Bane. Disruptor usually combos well with Magnus, but they won't pick it. There's no Wisp in the game, and he's very bad versus Lifestealer. Disruptor has no nothing to deal with Lifestealer. They probably need, I'd say, a THD would work pretty well. Very nice synergy with Bane and Magnus, and works well in the triple lane. I would prefer THD over, let's say, like Leshrac, because he does offer more AoE for those team fights and to follow up with reverse polarity.
The Ancient Apparition pickup from EG. Now, you see something like that, the power of Chilling Touch at level 1 is just immense. I mean, AA is always going to be excellent. Usually you see him picked with more things in mind, but seeing the AA pickup, that kind of makes me think that EG might be thinking that they want to offensively tri-lane as well.
I like Ancient Apparition. He's fallen out of favor just because people like Wisp so much. He used to be very popular to combo with CK. You would just Cold Feet, Reality Rift, Chaos Bolt, and then they'd be cold feeded, and then they'd almost instantly die. But that is a little bit weaker than the Wisp CK combo, but it's still very strong. And his ultimate's like just absurdly strong too.
Yep. Well, when you look at the Rubik Lifestealer Ancient Apparition, Cold Feet procs are almost, one would think, almost going to be a guarantee so long as Rubik's spot on with his telekinesis. If you get the Cold Feet on just before Rubik telekinesis and he brings you towards you, even if you try to retreat, your options are either to retreat laterally or to retreat right past the AoE. You have to get away from it. If you're caught with an open wounds, I don't really see any potential to escape. So Chen now going to be the pickup from Dignitas. I think that eliminates any possibility of offensively tri-laning unless they want to go back to like 2012 style. But, yeah, I like EG's offensive potential a lot more now, and especially when you talk about the pure reach that the Storm Spirit gives you. And I'll tell you what I think I like the most about Lifestealer and Storm Spirit together is it gets you over that hump when you're trying to crack the tier 3s. Whenever you get to that phase of the game when it becomes all about positioning, defending maybe your last outer tier towers, or even defending the base, Storm Spirit gives you a reliable way to get past the hero or get on top of a hero like Magnus instead of him just sitting back and waiting to RP. But Warlock going to be picked up by Dignitas, and that's a hero I've seen Dignitas run a lot, and it tends to make for a very fun game.
So looking at both lineups right now, Dignitas actually really needs BKBs. They do have some fair amount of physical damage from Clinks and Lifestealer, but if they focus on the Luna without BKB, it's going to be a huge problem. So I think before they make the T3 push, it's just going to be an absolutely necessary pickup. And Chen's going to have a very difficult time this game, just because Lifestealer can instantly infest and kill one of his creeps, as can Clinks with Death Pact. And Clinks will probably just be hunting Chen all game as soon as he gets his Orchid, if he has an easy lane.
Where they're going to put this Warlock is going to be of interest to me. We've got sneaking on Mag, so that tends to indicate he will be mid. And yeah, are they actually going to try to offlane this Warlock? I was thinking they might try to offlane the Mag, actually, and just send Warlock mid. That's something they've done before, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And I think that's, yeah, they're just anticipating that it's going to be an offensive tri-lane out of EG, which we both suspected could be a reality. And it looks like, yeah, for all intents and purposes, Demon looks to be mid. Yeah, and JO's going to solo farm. So Warlock's going to be able to do kind of okay here. He's going to be able to heal himself up, of course, with Shadow Word. But, I mean, give me the breakdown here, because I think that's going to be one of the more marquee matchups on the map. Can Universe stay in lane here, and is JO just going to drive him out?
No, I think Warlock will definitely have staying power in the lane as long as he is not scared of any interference. The right click is pretty strong, but Warlock's Shadow Word, and he has also have a an early ring of protection to deal with that harass. Someone mentioned something about my mic levels. I'm trying to adjust that at the moment.
That's no problem. You sound pretty clear to me. Hopefully you're good in Dota, so I'll go ahead and let you do that. To buy you time, how about I run through our lineup, see who's playing who, because it doesn't look like we're going to have any early game action. We're going to have Melk once again. Thanks to him for joining me for the initial broadcast today. He's going to be handling the Ancient Apparition. Clink's going to be played by Jo. He's setting up shop here in solo safe. We're going to have Demon running our Storm Spirit mid with Lifestealer farmed by the stand-in, Sexy Bambo, standing in for B-Diz. And just want to take a minute to say I really like B-Diz. I think he's a great guy and a guy that I consider a colleague and a friend. He's been having some things going on. I don't know what they are or what's going on with him. It's none of my business and not the business of most of us, but whatever it is, I want to wish him the best of luck and hope that all is well and that we see him back in action soon. Very, very great member of the community, and hope everything's going to be all right in his department. And then back to Fear, who's, again, was typically known as the #1 hard farming carry on EG, back in that support role. On the other side of the river, we're going to have Chen, handled by Way Too Sexy. Bane's going to be played by Fogged. He's setting up shop here in the tri-lane. Owie, no surprise to see him farming the Luna, with Warlock played by Universe, as mentioned, and Magnus taken mid by Sneaking. So, it's going to be this try-on-try up here. And again, you know, when I look at the way that this could work out, I could see this going really good for EG or really, really badly. I think the first team to get a kill on the board, if there are going to be any kills, is really going to be a big, big factor.
Okay, seems like my mic is hopefully decent. Let me know if there's any issues. So Way Too Sexy already has a Wild King creep. Looks like he tried to stack this camp, but got a little bit unlucky with the Mud Golem spawn, so he won't actually be able to double tornado it as we usually see Chens do.
Owie.
Oh, poor Owie.
Engaged upon. Now we're going to have the Nightmare removed in First Blood. Goes the way of EG. And that's what I was talking about. This was a lane that was either going to go really, really well for EG or really, really bad. The fact that they're able to get a First Blood on the board when Way 2 really had no chance to even be in position to help out. And now, all of a sudden, I think you're going to see Fogged and Owie having to play a lot more passively.
Yeah, I really think they need the backup of this Chen, or just play super passively to begin with. They have pretty much 3 stuns or like 3 heavy slows in that lane. So Owie with no defensive abilities and only 1 sleep to help them out this early is really not going to be able to get any sort of farm.
Taking a look here in mid, we're going to have Magnus up against the Storm. We can see Storm, as anticipated, doing quite a good job. He's got 13 to the 8. Max still hanging in there, at least for the moment. And our Lifestealer sitting at 10. Poor Luna has just one last hit. Now, this is one of the problems with the Luna, I would say. You know, whenever you see her played, she does... hold on. They're going to come out. Thought we might see a Nightmare there, but Chin a little too far away from them to decide to engage. But when a Luna gets off to a bad start, as quickly as she can flash farm when she has points into glaives, if you're able to take her out of the early game, her ability to fight in the mid game, which is usually bolstered by the strength of Eclipse even at level 6, if you're able to keep her down in items and keep her survivability low, it makes it real hard for her to participate in fights like you usually want her to.
Yeah, you almost missed a kill on bottom. It was Jo almost died to the Shadow Word. He had to pop a tick of flask, and he was left with 15 HP. So to answer your question, it looks like Warlock actually has quite the upper hand so far.
Yeah, no joke, man. And I'll tell you, this is something that Dignitas actually practices. I've seen them run one-on-one situations with Warlock quite consistently. He's went ahead and finished his Bassi. He honestly, if he continues to do well here, I mean, we look at his farm, he's right there. He's actually ahead of the Clinks. He honestly might even look to rush a Midas. I've seen Dignitas do that before.
Warlock's really strong. He has a very nice attack animation, projectile. He has a really high base damage and really nice stats all around. Decent armor, decent HP. And I think Jo made a mistake with his Boots of Speed first. He doesn't really need to chase Warlock. He needs to just be able to trade hits and regen up and then just keep trading hits because he has a chasing potential, especially with the orb walking. But it cost him pretty much probably a level. He's going to miss like a full wave, maybe 2, just from his item choice right now.
Gonna hope everything is under control. As we see, we have to have 1 reconnect due to lag. And certainly don't want to jinx it. We shall not mention the phenomenon we had to deal with once in the G1. But if worse comes to worse, we'll figure out how we're going to handle it. As we just saw it flash up on the screen, that if it does continue or there is an obvious problem developing, we'll find a way to cope with it. Want to once again thank everyone for joining us here on One More Game TV 2. This is Game 1 of Evil Geniuses versus Dignitas in an elimination match here in the lower bracket. So while we have a moment here, Mortellini, of course, the people listening, as they get to know you, they're going to want to follow more of you. I know I certainly did after I heard you dropping the knowledge like you tend to do. So how about you go ahead and plug yourself? Where can they find out more about you, my friend?
Sure, I pretty much stream daily on twitch.tv/MortelliniDota, and I occasionally upload videos on YouTube, but my YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook are all the same, /MortelliniDota.
Make sure you check that out, folks. No joke. Especially if you're looking to learn more about Dota, this guy will enlighten you in ways you didn't even know could happen. And, you know, I really enjoy your videos, really enjoy your Q&A sessions. And, you know, I think you're a great personality. I'm not just, you know, I've already got you on the mic, so I don't got to kiss your butt to get you to co-cast with me. I'm just, for the benefit of the audience, if you're just hearing Mortellini for the first time, trust me, he's a guy you're going to want to hear more about. Make sure you follow him on Twitter to keep up with his updates. Follow him on YouTube and elsewhere as well. And let's see.
Yeah, 2-cut ASC. And how do you feel about Fear on support? Because I think he's like a really, really strong carry, but I've seen him in the support role quite a few times recently.
I'll be completely honest with you. Fear and I talked about it. We talked about it on air and off air. he and I are very much of the same mind on the matter. Like whenever I play, whenever I play with like my stack of buddies, and as bad as we are, you know, we try to play somewhat seriously. I actually like the 3 and 4 role too. I actually prefer that over playing any other role on the team. And Fear and I basically are in agreement that so much of the game is influenced by the play of your, not necessarily farming support, but of the phrase I use is a playmaking support. You know, someone like an Undying, like a Rubik, like a Shadow Demon. Those heroes that, yes, there's only a few things they can really contribute, but being able to do so at the right moments and in the right ways can completely swing a fight. And, you know, I've said for as long as I've been casting Dota, more games are won by support play than they are by carry play. And that's my honest opinion. And I like him there. I feel like he's one of the more skilled players on EG, which, I mean, all of EG is crazy high in their skill. But, you know, the experience he has, his ability to make plays from any position, I think it's good that they are, whether they stick with it or not, I'll put it this way, whether they decide to make it a full-time thing or not, I think it's healthy for them as a team to be experimenting with it and be trying to figure something out as they resurge and look to find a new identity here as we approach the International 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's definitely one of the better and more experienced players on EG, and he is a flexible player.
Yep.
I'm just scared about like a couple of the carry players maybe making poor decisions in the mid to late game, which Fear tends to not do. He doesn't make mistakes often in that stage of the game, which is really, really important as a carry.
Well, what do you think of Bambo here? I mean, we could see things, and we'll focus more on the lanes here in a minute, but this is an interesting choice that jumps out immediately. When you look at EG's lineup, most of their damage is going to be coming from the Clinks and the Lifestealer, at least in terms of pure sustained damage in a lot of these fights. And granted, Bambo has been playing with them a lot, so it's not as if it's some random pupper they happen to pick up and stick on carry. But how do you feel about Bambo taking over the ostensibly one role here for this game at the very least?
Bambo's more of a high risk, high reward player,
yep.
And I think that as a carry role, that's not really what you need to be doing, because if you die, it's going to cost your team heavily in most situations, and you can't allow yourself to get behind on farm just because you want to like a kill on a support or you're farming riskily. And although it is more exciting to watch, I think he might be better suited to like the 2 or 3 role. But then again, I haven't seen too much of Sexy Bambo recently.
Yep.
I know he was on Mouse, I think for last year's TI2,
yep.
But I still have yet to see how he meshes with the rest of the EG lineup.
You just summed Bambo up perfectly, by the way. And I do want to point this out because this is quintessential Dignitas Dota right here. They ran a matchup that most people would never even think about. Most people would never go, you know what, we've got a Warlock. How about we isolate him against the Clinks? Like, that's just not something you're going to hear or talk about much. It has worked so well that they have now freed up room for their defensive tri-lane because Fear has now had to come to bottom to help this Clinks out. Now, obviously, that's going to cause problems for Universe. But in terms of forcing that shift when the offensive tri-lane was going so well for EG, that's just smart drafting, smart laning, and all-around good play.
Yeah, I agree with that. And now they finally get a little bit of breathing room for Aoi. And if Universe is paying attention, he would have noticed that the creeps were missing. And it looks like we will see...
Yep, gotta be another kill. No doubt about it. One bad thing about a Warlock, dude doesn't exactly have a way to get out of trouble, as we saw right there. 2 kills now on the board, both belong to EG. And so far, everything's going pretty well for EG. We're going to see Fogged and Caged upon Cold Feeder there, and Melk's going to be the target of Aoi. Fogged still up and fighting. There's the rage. They will be able to clean him up as well. Make that 3-0. Way Too Sexy gets there and just runs right past Bambo. And here's a good skewer, though. They're going to be able to at least get a return kill on Melk and finally find their way onto the scoreboard. But Bambo adding more to his kill total. That should... No, actually, I thought he got 2 there. He's only sitting on 1 at the moment. But without a doubt. And, you know, enforcing Magnus away from mid there's not the end of the world, but just to get a kill that they probably could have gotten anyway, that's a bit of wasted time and a bit more room to breathe for Demon.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with 3 people rotating down bottom just to kill a Warlock. I think Mag could have... He just has Arcane Boost right now. Bambo's way more farmed than he is already with Phase Boost at 800 gold right now. Snaking is the leader on the last hit chart right now, 34, just edging out the Storm Spirit slightly.
Well, taking a look at where things stand right now, my friend, we're still very early on. We've seen these lanes already begin to shift. Who would you give the edge in the way the laning phase has gone so far?
In the laning phase, EG definitely has it just because of that first blood by Aoi and a couple kills around the board. But the laning phase isn't too crucial for Dignitas. As long as they don't like lose horrendously in all 3 lanes, they should be okay. They have like the much stronger 5-on-5 lineup with Rock, RP, and Eclipse. So if once it comes to that stage of the game, they should have a slight advantage in just by hero comp alone.
One thing that I really like about Dignitas and what they're getting done so far, the hero that I think their entire lineup hinges around is the one that's on top of the board right now, or near the top. That's Magnus. When you look at the way that their lineup's going to want to fight, you've got the push power of a Luna. In fact, talking about Luna, just want to mention, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, to see Owie get something like a Shadow Blade here. And the reason is, with a Chen on the board, Chen's excellent through all phases of the game, but of course he does peak in the early to mid-game phases. And hang on, we might see some action as we see a bit of a gathering of the brain trust here in mid with the Universe Fog joining Sneaking. Yeah, they are going to back. But they're going to want to push with the pushing power of Luna, her ability to fight with her ult, and of course with the glaives up Chen and his ability to push and all that. But whenever you have a Warlock, which is traditionally a hero that wants to... Oh, hang on. Wow, Demon just... Demon's going to be there, but there's Warlock dropping the rock and the RP to follow it. They're going to skewer and get 2 kills immediately. That was weird out of both sides. Demon just kind of casually walked up and engaged whenever he really couldn't have had any idea what was behind that tower. And we see why that was a mistake now as Warlock was in position and Universe made him pay.
Yeah, this Warlock pick is, I think, already working out very well for them. I think Warlock is one of those really, really underrated heroes, and we saw Dignitas utilize it first when they ran a Warlock Inspector. I think I casted the game. It was probably a few months ago, but I love seeing these new hero picks out of Dignitas.
Universe in trouble in mid. Engaged upon, caught out, and Hand of God's there. Now here comes Mag. The skewer actually misses, though. He split the wickets, and Universe, no! 2 misses from the low ground, and now he's going to dive him all the way to the tower. Will he pay the price? Doesn't look like there's going to be any TP reaction. I'm a little surprised that we didn't see anyone come. But now Bambo wants to engage on Owie. Dives right past the tower. Owie heads into the woods and keeps himself safe, at least for the moment. At the same time, Jo able to nibble away at the Tier 1 tower and bring it down. Bambo playing very chest out under the tower here in Tier 1. So a lot of action all over the map. The end result, though, still a 1-kill lead going the way of EG. And what I was kind of talking about with Mag and Warlock have a special kind of synergy because one of the inherent weaknesses of Warlock is he tends to be a counter-initiation hero as opposed to initiation. He usually wants a team to walk right into him. But when he has an RP to rely on, he can just waddle himself into the fight after an RP and feel totally safe.
And I think they were hoping for an easy tower. This tower is almost dead, and Glyph is down. I think this Chen should probably try and move around a little more. This is Chen's time to shine. The first 15 minutes of the game is when you have 3 creeps or 1 creep and you can just go around the map just wreaking havoc, taking down towers, and just making life really difficult for the other team. But it's already 10 minutes in. We haven't seen any towers down except for EG side with Clinks getting a lot of space to farm on bottom. He's actually very farm right now too. Oblivion Staff, Aquila, Sage's Mask. He should have his Orchid probably around 15 minutes.
We're going to see some more movement. EG under cover of smoke. They've got Fear leading the way along with Melk. This could be very bad for Owie. He is level 6. And let's see if they want to chance it. No help really nearby other than Fogged, who's back near the pole camp. But for right now, looks like they are going to hang. So, I mean, we're at 10 minutes in, and we'll take our first look. We can see 3,000 gold now in favor of EG. I don't think that's any surprise. He experienced a slight lead for them. But as you mentioned, I mean, you know, other than the obvious, which is try to get Chen to work, is there any, what goal do you have in mind? If you're shot calling right now for Dignitas, you know you're behind. Well, never mind. I think they just answered our question as they smoke up.
Yeah, they just saw it, though, with the ward. They have to be a little bit more careful about that. Now all of EG is going to retreat. They just really need to make good use of their ultimates. An RP into a Rock combo, RP into Eclipse, or Eclipse and Rock. Those will just, should instantly kill 2 heroes on their team.
And they ought not to go ahead and spend the RP on Bambo. I guess just saying, you know what, it's not worth it. They've got 2 heroes on one side of the tower, 3 to the south. And looks like EG just wants to go ahead and trade out on mid here. Now, one way I usually try to frame the mid game is which hero's going to feel, or which team's going to feel more pressure to get more done in the mid game. Who would you say that is, Dignitas or EG?
I'd say Dignitas. They have the better 5-on-5 lineup, and they can just easily pressure towers with Chen and Luna Aura. So they should just exploit that, and they've already taken down their first T1. They should just probably rotate mid, then probably rotate bottom. Just take all these free towers. EG doesn't have BKBs. They're still very far away. No Orchid yet on Clinks. This is really where they need to press their advantage and get that early gold lead that Chen often helps them with.
Speaking of Chen and his gold, he is very close to having a mech. In fact, 10 gold away. He'll have that item right about now. And, oh, this is just beautiful timing out of Dignitas. Not only is the mech almost done, Sneaking almost has his blink dagger as well. So they're going to be able to start bringing all of that pressure to bear. But let's say that this game does end up being a bit more of a stalemate. Would you end up giving the late game advantage to EG or to Dignitas?
I'd say Dignitas, simply because of their ultimates. They have 2 ultimates that go through BK, or actually 3 ultimates that go through BKB, which is a huge deal.
Right.
Which means Nyx isn't really going to be able to do anything, and even if Clinks gets a BKB, he's probably still going to die too. And Storm usually has to get offensive items, maybe an Orchid or whatever else Demon is up going to get, but he is going to die if he gets caught in RP, or if he gets caught in a rock, he's going to get caught in RP after, and that's just not much wiggle room on EG's side.
I'll tell you what kind of stands out. I agree with you, by the way. And obviously I would, because, you know, now that I've heard what you said, but I agreed before I asked you. But, and that's kind of up, hang on here. And maybe we're going to have 2 nets go down. They're going to drop the rock as well. Skewers them back, and with skewering 2 dead bodies by the time all was said and done. And Dignitas finding 2 free kills in mid. They're going to take 1 tower. To be honest, they might be able to try and take 2 if they really want to push. They've got the golem out. He's still got 43 seconds. I'm actually a little surprised to see Way2 backing out here.
Yeah, EG's doing a very good job about splitting them around the map. Notice this T2 tower is almost dead, and there's 2 heroes around top. So if they do decide to commit further to the T2 tower mid, they need more than 2 heroes. And we have 2 heroes sitting top trying to protect Aoi and secure his farm, and 1 hero on bottom trying to prevent this tower from getting... Oh, what a grip.
Jo gripped out and brought down, however. Fear does find himself a nice spell to have. He's going to have to get away with it, though, and Mag with a blink dagger might be able to catch him. Luna's pursuing, going to hit him with a lucent beam. There's a shockwave. Here comes Storm to counter-initiate, and going to try to grab Aoi. Aoi's going to eat a lot of that damage. Mag is there, doesn't have RP or Skewer, so no way to really do anything to punish Demon for playing that aggressive. But back to what we were talking about in terms of the late game. I'll tell you what stands out as problematic for EG in my mind is they have some great ways to start fights and do damage, but it's all single target. You're talking about Lifestealer, who inherently is a single target kind of a hero. Clinks wants to blow a target up when Strafe's active. You want to see Storm Spirit locking someone down, Rubik grabbing someone, telekinesis, and so on. And Dignitas just has answers to that. They have a way to deal with the Lifestealer and kite him out, as well as reduce his damage. But Chen as well, with the Hand of God and Mag, that's a nice way to deal with that kind of a lineup. Whenever they're looking to do damage to single targets, you can just heal through it.
You can also defensively sleep or just drop a rock or RP. They have so many ways to deal with initiation. Even if they lose 1, they'll probably still win the team fights.
Exactly. That's kind of why I'm a little worried now. And Bambo is going to be netted down. Rage will be wearing off. They should be able to catch him. Never mind. They all kind of just got hung up there. That's a little weird. In fact, yeah, Magnus had a skewer. I'm really surprised he didn't just do that. In the meantime, Clinks does manage to take down the towers, so good for Jo. He's very, very close to that Orchid. And I feel like that's really going to be where things hinge for EG. Jo, once he gets an Orchid, is going to have to get some work done on the map.
I definitely agree with you there, and he just has to constantly apply pressure around the map, whether it be split pushing or picking off Chen or Bane, whatever it may be. He really needs to put pressure on the map so that they can try to force themselves away from these 5v5 situations where Dignitas lineup shines.
Completely agree with you. It's I don't know if you watch American sports much, like football and so on. Spread offense is kind of the word that comes to mind when I look at EG's lineup. They have a lineup that wants to skirmish more than they want a 5-on-5 fight, especially against the pure punching power of Dignitas. But Dignitas is doing a great job, in fairness. And, it's one thing, we can look at EG's lineup and talk about their weaknesses, but when you look at Dignitas, I just feel like now, seeing the way this is playing out, and of course hindsight's 2020, this just seems like a really directed draft. Like from the very first hero pick all the way to their last hero, they had a plan, and they're just putting it into action perfectly.
I guess now we see why they picked Luna so early.
Right.
Oh, is this a... We're going to steal it? Oh, wow, what a steal.
Did he actually get it? Wow, nice shot.
Killed by the Radiant.
Very nice. Luna does get the Aegis, but a little bonus gold going the way of EG. And, yeah, well shot there, Fear, as we can see. Or, excuse me, that was Milk, not Fear. Fear's on Rubik, but well shot, Milk. We'll take a look at our goal graph. And we could see still very much in favor of EG in terms of gold. Dignitas ahead in experience. And this is just one of those weird games where usually you look at the gold and experience graph as, good indications of where the teams stand. But I think we're both in pretty solid agreement that really those graphs don't matter unless EG is able to slow down the 5-on-5 team fight, which we may see in action here as 4 react. And Luna's going to pursue out Demon. Demon, obviously, with Ball Lightning, has every chance in the world to get away. But there's a hasted mag. And he is going to go ahead and pursue, and we see Fear manage to grab Shockwave in the meantime. Telekinesis him out. AA ulti will be fired. And misses with the skewer. They're still pursuing him, though. Now Fear is going to be gripped. So caught out and made to pay for being a little too cute, trying to steal Magnus's thunder.
Yep. On a side note, Jo has completed his Orchid and already has Treads too, so he's actually pretty farmed at this point. But they're doing what they need to do, like having Rubik die for all 5 heroes TPing. It's not a bad trade at all.
Right.
Actually, only 4 of them. Chen is not really useful when he TPs back. But it looks like they might actually push. The only ultimate being used right there was Fiend's Grip from Bane.
All right, so we're going to see them push here. What plan do you have if you're EG to deal with this 5-man push? I mean, this is what Dignitas is going to be doing, but, put yourself in the shoes of the shot caller for EG. You know this is coming. What's your approach to try and cope with this?
They really need a split push and just avoid fighting. If I were them, I would just completely just forget about this tower and not try and defend. If they fight, I'm pretty sure they're going to just get absolutely manhandled. And they have Aegis. Even if they kill Luna, she's going to revive, and I think they're going to get wrecked. But we'll see. It looks like they have a Nyx bomb very ready.
Keeping an eye on him. Here we go. AA ulti's going to go, and who are they going to go on? Trying to get the Chen immediately. There's the RP to slow it down, though. They got a couple. They're going to skewer him back right into the rock. Hand of God gets everyone back into fighting shape. And the rest of EG either dead or on the way to the well by their own volition. 4-9 after the dust settles. We've got a Golem on the ground, and we've got a Tier 2 gonna drop and go the direction of Team Dignitas. Hell, they might, is this a situation where you think they can push Tier 3?
Yeah, definitely so. Especially with Chen creeps and a mech and Aegis and a Warlock Golem up, they can definitely put a lot of pressure on this. If not, maybe take it down. There is still Glyph up, though.
We're gonna see the Ursa creep killed by Death Pact. And wow, here we go. Oh, he got him! Jumped in, skewered Jo, who's gonna go ahead and go undercover a skeleton walk out. He's gonna be the target. He's open wounds. They do manage to get the Golem. AA ulti catches 3. And Bambo, yeah, I was gonna say, what are you doing, buddy? I mean, there was nobody behind you. He just chased them out and was literally nipping at their heels against 5. So now he's gone. He's down for 30 seconds. Looks like Dignitas is just going to go ahead and cut their losses, though, and be happy to have brought that tower down a bit.
I'm pretty sure EG knew they were going to lose that fight, but sometimes you just have to just tank it. It's like, okay, I know we're going to lose a fight, but if we don't defend a T2, we have to defend a T3, and you really prefer to just leave to just lose a T2 and a couple of deaths rather than lose your rack this early into the game. So I think they knew they were going to lose a fight, but I mean, what can you do besides split push? None of the lanes were pushed out, so there wasn't any pressure from Dignitas to try and TP it around and defend towers like they have been before this game.
Taking a look at Way Too Sexy's inventory, and this is actually, for those who were here for the first broadcast, this is something I discussed with Melk when we had him on. We can see he's added the point booster, which one would imagine is going to be on the way to a Scythe, or to a Aghanim Scepter, excuse me. And I really like this pickup for one reason, and this is the same reason I tell you, in the game that I broadcasted earlier, we saw a Chen go with a Vlad's instead of saving up and putting some gold towards the Scepter. The reason I like this now is the same reason I thought it would have been a good idea then, because it's similar lineups. Again, EG has a team that wants to engage one-on-one targets. They want to fight in small skirmishes, not necessarily big fights. They want to do burst damage with strafe from Clinks. They want to make the most of the AA ulti, so on and so forth. And a great way to deal with that, and I touched on it just moments ago, is just heal through it. Just say, you know what, it's fine. You can do your damage, but we're going to try to get ahead. We're going to try to 5-on-5 team fight. And once you shoot your wad with the Storm Spirit, once you shoot your wad with Clinks' strafe, and then we can just heal our heroes and keep pushing. And I think that's what we're going to see happen, is Way Too, again, working on that Scepter, already has the mech up, and another Tier 2 under assault. Here's that split push you were talking about, though.
Yeah, it's looking very dangerous for Dignitas. This T3 is already at half HP, but this is what they need to do, and they should have done this before. Like this fight on top where Rubik was picked off, they didn't really apply any pressure. They had like all the time in the world to try and push out to other lanes and then TP back to defend, or perhaps force Dignitas to TP back, but they didn't do it. And now they realize what they need to do, and hopefully they can execute this a little bit better so Dignitas doesn't steamroll through all their T2s and get in early racks.
It's actually, I'm really quite impressed with the fact that EG has managed to do as well as they have in regard to towers. I mean, as we've talked about, they've kind of been on the back foot and trying to avoid Dignitas as much as they have, but there's still 2 towers standing on both sides. And it's 2 tier 2s for Dignitas, which I would argue is much better than a tier 1 that's at a quarter health and a tier 2 in bottom for EG. But still, I think they've done a pretty solid job, all things considered. And we can see even in the gold, they're still ahead technically in gold. The experience has swung in favor of Dignitas, but it's not as if it's completely insurmountable. At what point do you think that EG can confidently begin, well, honestly, they're doing it now, moving on to the other side of the map?
Radiant's bottom tower is
well, I think one of the very big things in this game is that AoE is actually very poor. They didn't get Roshan, and they have a lot of towers down, but all he has is Trez and BKB. And that's not really where you want to be with Luna at this point in the game. We see solo RP, wow, and...
Oh, stolen by Fear! Huge. Got 3 on the return, but there's the mech, and there's the Infest to do some damage. Aoi does not have an Aegis anymore. BKB used. Hand of God comes out late. We're going to see a skewer on Bambo. Beautiful play by Rubik. Now Bambo's going to be locked down and killed off after the Fiend's Grip. Let's see if they can get way 2. Fogged Whip! Oh, fogged! Yes, does survive through somehow by the skin of his teeth. Very big win there for EG, and to be honest, that's all sneaking. You got to put that on his shoulders. He blind RP'd, hoping he'd get more than 1, and only found a Clinks. And with Rubik being right next to him and he still missed, that's something you can't afford to do if you're a Magnus.
And I guess that's where you're also talking about the good support play. Like, Rubik was a little bit away from him, not getting caught by the RP, and immediately able to telekinesis and spell steal right after into a 3-man RP. So Fear doing very good work on this support role, as we were talking about earlier.
After that fight, we can see things still remaining very close. The gold just about at 0, still in favor of EG and ticking upwards. The experience still remains about even. So we've talked a lot about the strengths of Dignitas' lineup here. We just saw RP spin, so obviously, I mean, it's only 30-second cooldown. However, now that Rubik has that, and you know he's going to have it for at least a little while longer, how much does that slow down your willingness to try to engage?
I mean, to be honest, they've been slow all around. Like, they're very inefficient about how they've been moving around the map. It's 24 minutes in, and Chen is really losing his effectiveness at this stage in the game, and Luna's still under farm. Because Luna always has to stick with the team, or else she's just going to get picked off. Because she is under farm, she can die to not a solo Storm at this point, but a Storm Nyx Bomb or a Clinks, but those pose very, very large threats to her, and she is forced to stay around with her team the whole time, and because of this, she can't farm around the map. They're forced to 5-man and move around like really slowly and clunkily around the map and just take towers down 1 by 1. And EG's actually ahead in tower, or are they ahead? It's, I guess, 5-5 right now, and they shouldn't be ahead in towers right now, or even. They should be like, you know, 3-1, 4-1 in favor of Dignitas, but just because of the lineup and the poor start that Luna had because of their laning, they're forced into this, okay, just run around as 5 positioning, and just EG has free roam around the map, and they're ahead on gold just because of that.
Way 2 is about halfway, a little over halfway to his Scepter, which I think is going to be a very important item for Dignitas coming down the stretch. Taking a look at that Luna. She did just go flat out BKB. Didn't even get drums up, just went Treads BKB. So, I just heard an RP go off. Where was it spent? Was that Mag? No, Mag didn't do it, but they are going to be able to bail him out and heal him up. He's ready to go. Ghost Scepter's up. What did he steal? He didn't. He got, help. I just heard it used again. Where'd you go? There he is. But, fight really spread out. He actually managed to get Fatal Bonds. Not the best initiation out of either side there, to be perfectly blunt. And we can see the Scepter actually is done on Universe, as we have 2 golems now pushing down here. And totally lost track of Mag there. Not even sure what he RP'd. By the time I caught up with him, it had already been spent. But he has a Ghost Scepter, and he's already going for a refresher, having that Perseverance in his inventory. And this is just one of those extremely volatile games where you get the impression, and, you know, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, because occasionally you just have games like this where it's close when you look at, like, the metrics that are available to us, but you get the impression that one big fight could just put this completely out of reach for either side.
I think it's definitely on EG, though. If they get caught in 1 RP, it's almost like game over. If they get caught in like 3 or 4, it's definitely going to be a Rax for them. Whereas Dignitas, we saw them like mess up pretty badly over here. They only lost a T2, and I think Snaking's life and Luna's life for it, it wasn't that bad. They didn't really get any damage on a T3. But if EG loses a fight like really badly, I think it's definitely going to be a Rax, especially with this T3 already at half HP on top. But similarly, EG is in a pretty good position right now, much better than I thought they would be in, considering how the game was going and how the draft went.
Totally agree. Really and truly, just genuinely impressed with how well EG has handled things so far. And as you mentioned, I think this is the big factor. It's just how little influence Alway has had. I mean, usually, he's just now hitting level 12. 26 minutes in, that's not horrendous. But whenever you look at Bane, hang on, we're going to see one picked off. Now they've got Demon locked down, though. He's got help. And here he comes, trying to get back in. Fear tried to skewer, but Hand of God gets it back up and fighting. Jo doing good damage away, too, but not nearly enough. He's now locked down. Centaur there to stomp him and try to keep him immobile. He is going to run. He is enfeebled as well. Wow, BKB's actually popped on Aoi. These are some really sloppy fights on both sides, to be perfectly honest. Just not a whole lot of concerted chain of initiation or follow-up. And Jo will be able to make it away just by the skin of his teeth. In the end, EG ends up losing 1 in exchange for 2. Not too bad.
Yeah, I agree. It was just very sloppy. We were talking about this before, how they have really good map control, and Snaking was just caught up on himself over here. And Nates wasn't even inside of Storm. If Nates was inside of him, he would have died very, very quickly.
Right.
And there was a slow sentry by Fogged. The Clinks got away, I think, because of that.
Right.
But again, not too costly. Roshan is still up, and just minor casualties for both teams.
We're at 27.5 minutes into this game. We got 21 kills on the board. Dignitas doubling up Evil Geniuses, 14-7. And again, keeping an eye on Wei2, he's getting very close to that scepter. And maybe I'm overestimating its importance, but and the thing is, the reason I think it's such an important item, aside from, the on-paper reasons, you can theory craft all you want, but sometimes it works out differently in practice. But as we watch these fights, that's about the 3rd fight in a row that has just gone on forever. And yes, being able to use Hand of God every 30 seconds, I think, is going to have a big influence as this game goes later and later.
You can definitely see EG's game plan for this team fight. Storm's going to jump on probably Magnus and try and kill him before he can get RP off. But Dignitas isn't going to let that happen if they can. They have Warlock to interrupt it. They have this Hand of God heal, and he's actually pretty close to Scepter, only 1,000 away. They have defensive sleep if necessary, and he opted for a very early Ghost Scepter to prevent a lot of damage from Clinks and from Nates.
Looks like they thought about just going for it. EG sniffed out the Roche attempt. They picked off Way2 Sexy, who's now down for 24 more seconds. They're going to be able to steal this. And not just steal it, but steal it easily. And here we go. There's the Rock and the RP, though. Caught 3. Can they do the damage? They can. Stolen by Fear, but it doesn't matter. The damage was done, and that's exactly what we were talking about, Merlini. There's that heal, and exactly why I think that Scepter's so important. There was that burst, there was that ability to do damage, but guess what? If you can heal through it, it doesn't matter. He didn't get the whole team, he only got 3, but 3 all he needed. Following it up with the Rock and a beautiful chain of initiation that time. Dignitas should be able to get milked. He's going to be able to blink in. Wow. Okay. There you go. There's Fear. Trying to bail his buddy out. There it is. So 4-0, and that's actually a gigantic turnaround for Dignitas, as they not only get the Aegis, not only get the fight, but they extend their lead. And
Storm died twice, too. He managed to snatch the Aegis, but that was very, very costly for them. And again, they're going to have a refresher soon, too. Look at Warlock's items. He almost has his Blading Staff, and I think Snaking already has his. Yep.
So looking ahead here, we're just about at 30 minutes. EG, again, we go to the metrics, and this game just doesn't feel as close as the graphs tell me it should be. You see 0 gold, and you see the experience is in favor of Dignitas, but it's not as if it's an insurmountable, amount. It's not as if it's the end of the world. Bambo has a Desolator, which is a pretty generic way to build a Lifestealer. I don't see this too often, and it's nice to be able to blow up a single target, but as we've seen, the healing and the ability for Dignitas to survive through this onslaught is actually just kind of silly. Yeah, their team fight is just incredibly strong at this point in the game. So let's put you back in the captain's chair for EG. What are you telling your team, Merlini, if you're in their situation right now? I think it's just pretty much the same plan as before, just try and split push. This T3 is really, really low, and if Cleans can manage to push out the lane, which he's doing right now, and force Dignitas to just run around and waste their ultimates, or not really waste their ultimates, but maybe just trade it for like a support kill or 1 hero instead of 3 like we saw at the Roche pit, then they'll be in a good position to at least probably be even on racks. We can see they're beginning to pay a bit more attention to this top side of the map. And don't think they were spotted. There is a ward down in their jungle from EG, but don't think most of them were spotted. They did smoke momentarily heading into that side, but looks like they may decide to go ahead and push top. As you said, Jo doing his job. He's going to have a lot of damage soon. He's basically got a Daedalus right now. So that in and of itself, the problem I have with EG's lineup, and this is kind of something I talked about in Team Liquid versus Na'Vi. Na'Vi has really creative lineups, and honestly, looking at EG's lineup, this is like a lineup that I could see Na'Vi running. But the problem with it is, and you know, the way you can exploit it is it's a really awesome lineup that does a lot of things well, but it just doesn't match up that well in full 5-on-5 team engagements. We've been harping on that all match. But as awesome as it is, and as cool as it is to split push and have Nyx bombs and all that, you just get the feeling that they just have this impending sense of doom that eventually they got to group up near a tower, and that's when they're just going to become meat if they're not real careful.
Right. So EG managed to delay this game a little bit further, which is exactly what they needed to, and they got the T3. It wasn't even denied. So Clean's got the tower. He will have his Daedalus, and EG will survive yet another few minutes before. I feel like it's going to be a very devastating double RP and probably double rock soon. Or quad rock.
All right, let's bring you on the other side of the river. Let's say you're in the captain's chair for Dignitas. Is there a concern you have right now? I mean, obviously things can always go wrong. You're not up against the team that's going to fail to execute if you give them the chance. But is there any feeling of anxiety? Do you feel pressured at all to make something happen soon?
Yeah, I think so, especially with just Clinks' mobility. They don't have any mobility at all. All they have is like Chen send back, but as you can see, they're almost always like just grouped around S5 all the time, and EG will be able to outfarm them, and with sufficient items, they will be able to take on these team fights, or perhaps enough money for buyback. But it looks like they are not worried about this T3 on bottom or this rack, so they will be looking to push this mid.
Rattling their saber down middle lane. Now he finally has some items to his name. He's not far from a Manta. I'm a little surprised they're doing this when the Manta's that close, but as it stands, something we didn't talk a whole lot about, just because it hasn't been as big a factor as other things, is how much Luna does benefit from Empower and how much ground that allows her to make up, given how non-factor she's been. Now she's going to BKB just in time, and Demon jumped in, but a little too slow on the fingers. Owie having a bit quicker reaction time, got his BKB up just in time. And up here we got Jo. I just heard an RP. Who did he catch? He's going to be able to skewer Bambo back, and that's a horrendous hero to lose. Okay, so that forces a buyback out of Bambo. So this is basically all in. You know, at this point, you're falling behind. You can't just have a buyback on your primary physical damage dealer. And granted, Clink shares some of that water, but at the same time, that's your guy who's going to be counted on to fight. And he's going to go ahead and open wounds on Owie, but they're just slowly chipping away here. We see Demon loaded up with a passenger. He's going to look to try to find a target that's open. RP should... Up here we go. He's just going to go for it immediately. They come out and they're trying to grab Sneaking. He is going to be bailed out by the rock, though. And all the damage done. There's another one dropped. Now the RP comes down. And Jo and Bambo both looking like they're going to drop. In the meantime, Demon's doing okay damage. A lot of golems, a lot of fire, a lot of death everywhere on the board. Owie manages to make it a mega kill for himself. He's going to go ahead and throw one out at Demon. Looks like he will be cleaned up. Got a clips off, but only momentarily. And EG cost them some buybacks, but they are able to make things happen, and I think they did that about as well as they could, Merlini. Prioritized the Magnus.
Yeah, I think EG did a lot of things well that fight. Rubik managed to steal the double rock, which is absolutely huge, and they managed to find the Magnus. They didn't even have any vision over here, but Storm was able to jump on him and guess where he was with the Nyx inside of him and put a lot of pressure on the Magnus and forced all those big cooldowns from Dignitas. It was really strange how he used Eclipse like very, very late too. Yep. It's not like it was on cooldown. I'm just surprised he didn't use it quite a bit earlier.
When we look at the net worth tab, we can actually see Luna is crawling back up the board. Bambo has struggled since the laning phase broke down. Luna's actually caught up and is very near now the top farmer on the board, which is our Clinks. And we can see, I mean, he did a lot of damage and is going to continue to do a lot of damage. And this is kind of what I was hinting at whenever I put you in the captain's share of Dignitas. When I look at the way this match is playing out here, Merlini, I see a team that, as awesome as your team fight is, you still don't want to deal with a fully farmed Clink. You just don't. That's a hero that will blow your supports up with 2 or 3 shots if he gets another big item. And now we're going to have Sneaking caught out once again. He's going to be Hex silenced, and now Hand of God Mech trying to keep him alive. He will be making it home. Sent home by Way2. They end up losing the Bane in the meantime. But keeping them... Oh, actually, no, he bought back. I thought they got him. There's the RP. Going to drop and catch a couple. And able to clean both of them up. I thought for sure Mag made it home there.
And he did make it home, but the Orchid pop from the police killed him at the end.
Okay, the bonus damage from the Orchid. I honestly didn't even, I thought it went off before the TP. Oh, that's so unfortunate. But anyway, the buyback does end up being worthwhile. 22-14, and that's a good chunk of time that we're going to see our Storm Speeder and our Lifestealer down. Storm has buyback. Lifestealer does not. So, if they want to make something happen, they've got a big opening right now. We just saw the ping on the racks. The creep wave's nowhere near there. And Fear managed to steal RP. Fear actually has RP. So, one chance to turn it around right there if he isn't spotted out. J.O.'s hanging out somewhere in that vicinity, and now we're going to see Fear showing his face. I don't know that they saw it or not, but either way, that mid-set of racks with no real way to initiate and no way to do concerted physical DPS outside of the Clinks. They're unable to defend. And now that tier 3 top looks to be dropping. Here comes the TP. There we go. They will get it in Owie. Just kind of hung around, got sent back. And Bambo, clean. A lot of damage coming out there, but Shin does manage to make it home, as does the rest of Dignitas.
Wow, very good coordination by Dignitas there, managing to keep everyone alive after taking out a set of racks and a T3 tower. I thought they were going to be in really dire position there with the Blink RP and everyone reviving, but very good team play by them, managing all to escape. And the Roshan is up in a minute, too.
All right, Sneaky might be in trouble here. J.O. has an eye on him. And there we go. They're going to go ahead and engage immediately. There's the Fiend script, though, and the Ghost Scepter paying for itself. We're going to see the RP spent. And one's down, make it 2. So 2 very high priority kills for Evil Geniuses. That's one thing, and that's honestly what I think has kept them in this game, Merlini, is the fact that they are managing to make something out of nothing. They're managing to just get kills when they need them the most, and the timing on that could not be better, as you had mentioned. Roshan up soon. Looks like the Rax is going to be their #1 priority. Now, does Magnus have buyback? He does not. Does Bane have buyback? He doesn't. So this may very well be a free set of racks. They're going to glyph with the try and buy time. 20 seconds until Bane's up. 40 seconds may as well be an eternity in a situation like this. And they've got the naked racks in bottom as well. So they are actually in a position where they might lose 2 sets. And now we're going to have the engagement on the Universe. He's going to be caught out. And the healing's there, but not nearly enough. Way too. Going to be blown up as well. And yeah, this is what I was hinting at this before, and I think we're seeing it in practice. This is just one of those games where no matter what the metrics tell us, one engagement or one mistake felt like it can make the game go either way for either team.
And staking just, I think that was just a really big mistake by them. It was 1 minute until Roshan. He had no buyback, and they were in a very, very good position after just taking a Rax and a T3 and escaping. And now they're in this situation where they're actually behind on Rax right now. 2 melee Rax down for Dignitas. And looks like they are trying to do Roshan, and J.O. is just pumping out damage there.
J.O. is hitting hard. Little guy unleashing the hail, the flurry of arrows, melting Roshan down. And they should be able to make it out for free. Who ended up picking that up? Demon got the cheese, and J.O. got the Aegis. So, Dignitas ahead in kills, but as we look at the metrics, EG way ahead in gold, way ahead in experience. And yeah, I mean, it's just the way that both of these teams work. There's just so many ways that they can turn a small advantage into a big one. And I think it's something we both suspected could happen. EG just got kills at the right time and able to really maximize the efficiency of their lineup. And really, I think what's making the biggest difference is just J.O. has done what we said he had to do. He's getting work done. He's not, you know, he doesn't have 55 kills or something silly, but what they need out of him is exactly what they're getting out of him.
Yep, and he's getting to that point where he's going to be very, very difficult to deal with. He doesn't have any BKBs. BKBs is not really that necessary because, again, 3 of the ultimates go through BKB, so he just needs HP. It looks like he's probably going an I have Scotty build.
18-22. 40 kills on the board in a 40-minute game. Very, very close, at least on that count, but the gold continuing to move the way of EG. Now, if you're in Dignitas' shoes here, do you begin to say, okay, maybe if we lose one more fight, this game might be over?
Right, but they haven't actually fought like full strength. Notice this last fight, it was like Magnus died, and then Warlock got picked off without Magnus up. And now that they have everyone here with Refresher, I think it should be much more even ground.
And here we go. We're going to see him engage, and out they come. They're going to grab Sneaking. Sneaking is going to be bailed out by the Rock. He's up and still going for the moment. Spins the RP and gets Bambo. Ends up dropping afterwards. There's that healing from Chen. Is it enough? Way two. Being laid into, and Demon keeps himself alive. Ow, he's gone, and that's 5 gone. That's a game 1 win for Evil Geniuses as they run head-on into the 5-on-5 monster team composition of Dignitas and find a way to win. I said it during our during the introductions, Merlini, and I think EG just proved me to be right. One thing they know how to do is just find a way to win. This is a game I honestly thought was going to get away from them. I was surprised that they were in as good a shape as they were in the mid-game. Now, just in that transition to the late game, they find a way to get the job done. What a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, very well played. I think Demon actually played very well too. He managed to farm up his items, die minimally, and he actually picked up a Dagon at the end because Snaking was just making it out every time with that Ghost Scepter, and he was able to kill him. And finally, without double RP to deal with, they were able to eke out that win. So very well played by EG.
41 minutes, 59 seconds, the official game time. 23-23, the final kill score. EG, who again is really becoming a Cinderella story here. Granted, they are in the lower bracket, but the fact that they were brought back from redemption, they were given a chance for redemption when Absolute Legends, who had beat them 2-0, AL had to withdraw. EG got a chance to get back into the tournament, and now all of a sudden, they find themselves 1 win away from knocking out another team that honestly I think most would consider to be a favorite to go deep into this bracket. Dignitas, though, not a team that struggles in playing from behind. They're a resilient team, a talented team, and they're going to be looking to turn that bagel into a breadstick and give us a Game 3. I'm AC, joined by Merlini for the broadcast. Hope you guys are having as much fun as I am here on One More Game TV 2. Game number 2 of this best of 3 coming your way next. Stick with us.